Monolith update. Everything changes on December 6th. Hello everybody, J Legend here, back with another Monolith update, and this time they're talking about all the changes that's going to be happening within the game. New smaller map, faster, more action-oriented gameplay. Every hero updated, and it's still a MOBA. Guys, this is really big. Some of the first major areas they wanted to work on to address the Monolith update is the size of the map, the lane structure, and the meta gameplay. The first thing they go into is gameplay is much faster. Specifically, we're talking about faster movement speed, ability, and attack execution speed, and overall game lethality. The first part of the changes are player movement speed. They go on to say we want players to feel that they can get around the map without travel mode, but also want to ensure that we have one unified speed for the game. To that end, we've updated the speed a lot. Once mastered, the new, faster movement speeds will prove easier for players to understand in terms of which engagement ranges are safe and which are likely to land them with a free trip back to their core. All bonuses aside, the new speeds are certainly a change from where we are at in Legacy. It's going to take a few masters for players to get used to. Delivering the desired gameplay experience discussed above can only be partially solved by movement speed. Attacking, using abilities, and combat all have to feel snappy and resolve quickly to get the full effect. To this end, we've changed the way damage, armor, health, and mana work. Damage control. So what kind of major damage and armor changes are we talking about? We've reworked damage types to allow you to better itemize armor against incoming damage. Primary attacks will no longer deal basic damage, while any activatable power will now deal ability damage. This is an important change that lets us get a much better handle on how ability focused heroes scale in relation to attacking heroes. This change carries over to armor and penetration, where basic armor will help defend against sustained primary attacks, and ability armor will help defend against incoming spells. That's nuts. So basically the armor is getting completely reworked. It's no longer energy and physically based armor. It's now just basic attack armor and ability armor. Which I'm just shocked that they're even changing it that much, you know, like it's going to be a thing in the past now. That is absolutely insane. But I definitely do like the changes because then you can focus on one type of character, you know. You can actually defend against chimeras and murdochs now. But to go on to say that the concept of physical and energy heroes has been removed, and all players will now equip cards with a unified power stat to increase their basic attacks and abilities. Players who buy power will see that stat build into a percentage of all their outgoing damage, regardless of whether the damage comes from their basic attacks or abilities. Buying damage as Gideon will increase your abilities considerably, with a small bump to your basic attacks, while buying damage as Murdoch will primarily increase your basic attacks. Down the road, we're looking at adding cards which might allow for increasing only ability damage or doing cool things to your basic attacks. That's just cool. I'm loving that they're focusing in on the type of hero you're playing and really customizing how it plays. And also, I'm glad that it's an automatic thing that these attack buffs or this damage buffing, it's basically going to do your character's, you know, output. So if you're Murdoch, your basic attack will get stronger, and if you're Gideon, your abilities will get stronger, because that's how the characters naturally will scale. So it automatically deciphers what to put the damage buff into. Rest in peace. In peace. Cooldown reduction is no longer a stat that casually appears as a bonus stat on cards, nor is it one that can be slotted into cards via upgrades. The reason we've all but removed this stat is to help hit our gameplay goals of faster ability usage. we've dramatically reduced most of the cooldowns in the game. You still can find a little bit of it though as part of the complete effect for certain cards. For example, the extra effect of Mind Flow. So basically they cut down all ability length. So it's just a reduction across the board on every ability on every hero in the game. All right, they go on to say how much. As an example, Gadget Sticky Mine, has dropped from 15 seconds cooldown to an 8-second one, and Rampage Ultimate at level 3 has a brisk 40-second cooldown. That is nuts. That is absolutely insane. Do you realize how many abilities and ultimates are going to be flying in this game now? This game, they are not lying when they said they wanted to make this game the MOBA that puts you into action. Like, this is just insane, man. Like, oh my gosh, mine is just blown right now. Absolutely blown. They're making these dramatic changes. They say as for the rest of the heroes, you'll have to wait and see. And they go on to say mana makes a comeback. Mana has long been a devalued attribute in Paragon, but that is going to change with Monolith. Part of the work around reducing most of the cooldowns is finding another way to balance abilities. Some abilities with faster cooldowns will now be gated more by mana usage than time. This means it will be up to you to decide how to approach ability usage. Buy mana for more activations, or spend your points on fewer, more effective activations. So mana is getting a big rework as well. You're gonna have the consumption of mana will be different. So you can put in like more mana, like a bigger mana pool, or you can buff up your abilities to have those abilities do a heck of a lot of damage, but you'll have less mana to use. So you have to, decide when to use them. They go on to say, but what about my main? With all that was stated above, it should now and hopefully come as no surprise that we've rebalanced every hero in the game, with an eye towards both faster speeds and faster kill times. Ranges for most abilities have been reduced, while timings of most activation animations have been sped up across the board. Movement speed buffs and slows have likewise all been adjusted to match the new movement speeds. They go on to say, wait, you want an example? And they give an example of Greystone. And here it is, the Reforged ability, his ultimate. It says the damage type adjusted from physical to ability. Enemies damaged by Reinforced are no longer knocked up and stunned, so that is completely gone. There's no more knockups with this ability. And Greystone, when Greystone dies, all enemies around him are slowed. This slow is more powerful the closer they are to the place he died. So now when he dies and does his little to the sky, whoever's closest gets slowed a lot, and whoever's in that radius gets slowed, which is freaking cool. And they take damage, of course. Reforged no longer puts Make Way and Assault the Gates on an additional 5-second cooldown, and the cooldowns have been reduced from 240, 180, 120 to 180, 130, 80. So that'd be the scaling system for every time you level up the ultimate. Those are the seconds, and that's freaking insane. That's nuts. I mean, like, the rebalancing in this game is just going wild. This is a nice little section they go into here. They talk about heroes. Okay, they say heroes and their classifications. So that 3-tier classification of Ranger, Caster, Fighter that they've been using, they don't want to use it anymore. That was just like it was like a work in progress type thing. It's just something they used to differentiate the heroes, and to them, that's not how the heroes are. They definitely want to create a more versatile aspect of heroes, because each hero's basically it's molded together with different aspects, and They say for the Paragon of Monolith, it is one in which heroes enjoy the most versatility in their roles that they have ever had. In order to better reflect that, we want to change the language we use to discuss them going forward. It is in this vein that we're introducing a new verbiage we're calling hero traits. Each hero will have a series of traits that describes types of gameplay that hero progresses in various degrees. And they say this isn't a like a hard and fast rule, like you don't have to like stick to it. It's more of a guideline. If a hero is great at using accumulated card power, we call that hero a marauder. However, that doesn't mean that a non-marauder hero couldn't excel in a carry role given the right team composition and laning setup. Wild heroes will excel in the jungle, but that doesn't mean that a world can't exist in which a non-wild hero does well there. So the main goal of traits is to assist the community in looking at heroes the same way we do while they design them. Each hero is unique and brings a special blend of skills to the battlefields of Agora. In this way, we will show attributes at different playstyles in which we will attempt to highlight to let you know the kind of heroes that you may want to play. They give an example of Gideon. It's just a picture of Gideon, has ranged on it, and it says Burst, Assassin, Elusive, Sieger. Nice. So this would be his attributes that he's good at. And each hero will have their own little traits like that now. They go on to say that they want to see some changes in the vision aspect of the game, which talks about shadow pads and shadow wards. There's no longer shadow pads at all. They're just gone. And shadow wards will have a degree of like line of sight almost. So you have to place them carefully, and you gotta have them, you know, have some type of line of sight, or you just won't get any info. And you want to remove enemy wards using your wards, of course. Okay, so since there's no shadow pads, there is what they call fog of war, like they use in other MOBAs. What they are calling fog walls all throughout Monolith. They are quite literally walls of fog that obscures your sight. It's impossible to see enemies through them, and they'll block line of sight for both heroes and wards. The gameplay we've seen out of these fog walls have been exactly what we're hoping for all along. They make going into and out of the jungle more surprising events, and they help create the laning experience we're looking to deliver. So now these fog walls block the jungle. You can't see in and you can't see out. Like, it is absolutely a surprise, and the jungle really sits alone now, you know. I'm liking that the jungle has like a bigger role and a bigger presence now. They ended off to go on to say that there is still a few days left before you will be able to experience Monolith. However, we're incredibly excited for you to play and get your first impressions. With all the major changes that they're going to be making, and all the character changes, all the movement changes, I mean, like, one thing after another has been changed. This whole game has been reworked. They ask that we continue to give valuable feedback and try out the game for ourselves. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this update. This thing came out of nowhere. I'm really excited about the changes, and I hope to see you guys on Monolith. I'll see you guys later. This is Jay Legend. Peace out.